With my 35 years of experience, our team at US Asset Management can deliver professional investment management, financial planning to help you target your goals, and even specialized divorce financial analysis if you need it. We are here to help you make better decisions with your money. Call US Asset Management today and let's get to work in your financial future.
The left is siding with illegals, attacking ICE, and fighting to let non-citizens vote. Republican Kelvin King is a graduate of the Air Force Academy, Air Force veteran, and conservative businessman. As Georgia's Secretary of State, Kelvin will put Americans first, root out corruption, clean up voter rolls, and restore confidence in our elections. The other candidates had their chance and failed. Republican Kelvin King for Secretary of State, leadership Georgia voters can trust.
Pro-Trump warrior Steve Gooch won't just cut property taxes in Georgia. He'll throw them straight in the wood chipper.
Senior citizens on fixed income shouldn't be forced from their homes. Neither should veterans who have served our country and fought for our freedoms. And neither should anyone else for that matter. Frankly, these crazy property taxes are un-American. I'll tear them to shreds. We'll make home ownership great again.
Steve Gooch for Lieutenant Governor. Toughest tax cutter Georgia's ever seen.
Do you already have your investments with Fidelity? I'm David Cross with US Asset Management. Did you know that you can assign your investment management to my team and put my 35 years of experience to work for you? You simply assign us as your investment manager and you keep the same username and password. Professional management, and you get to work with someone who shares your values. Call US Asset Management today and put us to work for you.
What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.
And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Yes, that's... I've decided that I'm going to start opening every podcast, as we call it, and we're back. And then I'm going to close with, this is really catchy. We're going to take a brief break. I came up with that on my own. I'm your host, BKP. You're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Now, I am told that if you will, let's see, there it is. If you'll scan that, nothing like me asking you to scan a QR code. Speaking of QR codes, right? The state election board in Georgia will have a meeting tomorrow, a special called meeting. We'll talk about that a little later in the day. But if you scan that, our Vora at BKP Politics, that'll take you right to our Substack. That's the word on the street. That's what the kids are saying. I don't know. 3 graduations. How many graduations do you have? It's graduation season, right? Season 3. I have 3 graduations out of the same family. My niece is graduating law school. Yeah, she's, I've been waiting for her to get out of law school. I have worked for her. No, my niece is graduating law school. Just a wonderful young lady. My nephew is down at Old Miss. I told my sister to leave him down there at Old Miss. Just leave him. No, he's a great kid, graduating from Old Miss. And the youngest, the baby of the bunch, is graduating from high school. Yes. My sister has 3 graduating at one time. Going to have that big time graduation party. Anyhow, it's going into graduation season, but it's election season here in Georgia, and we're covering it all. The other day, you can go to our Substack. We did a full breakdown of the Secretary of State's race. And what we're really looking at is who can win in November. We've talked about this over and over. It's going to really, you're going out, you're listening to candidates, you're talking to candidates, you're seeing the mailers. I am going to ask you, please do not elect someone based on some mailer that came in. Try to call them, send them messages, ask them the questions direct, go to an event where they're speaking. Just try. Watch our segments. We're trying to break them down. Now, what we start talking about is, yes, Jon Ossoff is at the top of the ticket. That's the top of the ticket in November, period, is the Senate. And we did a breakdown on the Secretary of State's race. We did a breakdown earlier on the Senate race, where we stand currently. Early voting starts the end of this week or first of next week in April. May 19th is the primary, and then we go into the runoff. And almost every race we have in Georgia on the Republican side will probably have a runoff. Even state school superintendent will probably be a runoff. Wow. That being said, Democrats are salivating. Now, the reason you're tuned in, I had an amazing conversation out of the 1st District yesterday. And the reason you're tuned in is we discuss the race, politics, and we don't bury our head in the sand or shrug our shoulders thinking, you know what, this could not happen to us. Democrats are salivating over Georgia right now. They want to keep Jon Ossoff. The Cook Political Report has taken the U.S. Senate race in Georgia from a toss-up to lean Democrat. Next, we have governor. We have lieutenant governor. Now, I will be doing a full segment on the lieutenant governor's race. I've been asked that over and over, okay? I am looking into the 10th District right now, congressional race. You've asked about that one. I have some comments I've got to make very soon on the 1st congressional district race. Again, I got a call out of there yesterday. Little Jimmy Kingston will not show up for any debates, any forums, any events at all. Will not answer questions. So this Sunday, I think it's this Sunday, is the Loudermilk, the Atlanta Press Club Loudermilk debate series. We'll see if little Jimmy shows up then. I've said on my podcast and on the Substack articles, don't go ask questions, and don't vote for someone that won't show up for a forum. Now, a lot of these candidates have multiple scheduling. I know. I was talking, I think it was Blake Tillery said Saturday he was going to 6 different events. You couldn't get everywhere. North Georgia and Hall County Republican women, and I don't know who else was involved sponsoring that, so I don't want to leave anyone out, but they did an amazing job. A candidate day, I think they had like 38 candidates. They did an amazing job up there. But some of these candidates have so many places to go. They're not just bagging your event. They just can't get to more than 5 a day geographically across the state. But don't vote for these candidates that don't ask for your vote. Seriously. And I've got a little problem with that right now. It's not the only reason, but I get a little problem with that right now. So we went down to Unadilla. Now, I must admit, this is for everyone. I must admit that until I know Perry, but is it 41 or whatever the highway is? I was not familiar with Unadilla until Saturday night. Now, the reason I went to that event is because I wanted to see every gubernatorial candidate in the wild there, meaning roaming around, talking to people, asking for votes, socializing with people. And I wanted to see how they responded. The only one that was not there was Brad Raffensperger. But we had a great time. The 2nd District, I just have to say, they did an amazing job. Want to give it up for Chuck Hand, Mandy Hand, the chair of the Georgia Republican Party 2nd District, Tyler Johnson. I didn't spend a lot of time with Tyler, Chuck, or Mandy because they never stopped. They had a lot of volunteers. Steve Harper, just throwing some names out. I don't want to forget anybody. If people working the tables, so many people were there. They worked very hard. I don't want to leave anyone out. Give it up for the band. I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to hang out here until the band plays a song I don't want to hear. And here is Chuck. And another one with the band. Bill Calzert, right? Calzert, he's running for Attorney General. I talked to everybody that day. He's running for Attorney General. We talked. Brian Strickland running for Attorney General twice or 3 times I've been to an event. And he's never talked to me. He has never spoke to me and never asked for my vote. I love this picture. This is a nice one here. Because if you think I ask tough questions, this is my example. Ready? Here's Exhibit A. Oh, Lord, am I going to be in trouble if she finds out I referred to her as Exhibit A. My wife, okay? Go talk to these people. Ask questions. Because I don't know if you can see this, but you should see the intensity in Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones' face because she asked tough questions. Just saying. And so she is asking, and I think he is asking for the vote. Because I'm pretty sure when she walked up to him, she may have said, you know, I'm not sure I'm voting for you. Maybe I don't know the discussion. Now, Kelvin King was there. Vernon Jones didn't speak to me, but Kelvin did. I was cutting up. This is Cutting Up with Chan Jones, chairman of the 8th Congressional District Republican Party, and James Cooper. We were cutting up, having a good time. We pick on each other. We really do. I mean, we really pick on each other, but it's all in fun, and we really have a good time. Here is my picture talking with Burt Jones. Now, the segment here, what we're going to work on in just a minute, the segment here is very clear. I want to show you some video of all the candidates. Now, Brad Raffensperger did not attend this event. Brad Raffensperger is actually running a different kind of campaign on the Republican ticket. I'll get into that a little later, Secretary of State. But this segment we're about to do is focusing on the candidates, and I want you to see them on the stage, how they come across, and I'm going to share a couple things that took place there Saturday. So Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, I had a conversation with him, okay? The world champion, right there he is, Barbecue King, Myron Mixum, want to thank him for opening up his home. My wife and I, we really enjoyed being with him. Now, here is Rick Jackson, and this is as close as I would be able to get to Rick Jackson Saturday. Now, many of you are going to say, well, do you blame him? Okay. So you can read my Substack articles. But everything I've ever attended, now remember in LJ that they prevented me from coming in, but every event I've attended with Rick Jackson, I've not attacked him. My questions were respectful when I asked questions. When I went up and shook his hand, I shook his hand. I was cordial. I never said anything ugly to Rick Jackson. I've never intimidated Rick Jackson. There's never been any reason whatsoever for Rick Jackson to personally avoid me. Now, hey, if he did not want to talk to me Saturday, I understand. Okay? But that's as close as I got to Rick Jackson. Now, Rick Jackson came over and he sat and ate barbecue with Caleb Conaway, the executive director of the Georgia Republican Party. Now, here is his two bodyguards. He has two bodyguards with him, right? And they work out looking for me. Oh, yes. I actually, I decided when I went down there I was going to talk to Chris Carr. I was going to talk to Ken Yasgur. I was going to talk to Clark Dean, Burt Jones, and I was going to say hello to Mr. Jackson. I would have walked up and said, Mr. Jackson, how are you today? All right? And if Mr. Jackson wanted to take that time to ask me any questions about some of the Substacks I've written and some of the work I've done on articles concerning him, I would have gladly discussed it with him. No reason to think I was going to attack Rick, but I forget that lady's name. What is her name? Is it Tori? What is her name? Jade, right? Jade Morey? Is Jade Morey, right? There's the bodyguards. Now all right, now this guy here, he was assigned to keep an eye on me. Now I'm sitting in a chair, the stage is up there, my video camera is right in front of me, and I'm videoing the stage. I'm not bothering anybody. Rick Jackson sits down, he comes, here's the bodyguard, right? Now, here's the next one. You can't see in the video, you can't see in that picture, he's glaring over, he's got his eye on me, he's got to let me know. He's glaring over at me. Like, now, all jokes aside, here he is blocking me. They want to let, Rick Jackson is talking to the executive director of the Georgia Republican Party, and he's eating his barbecue, and they block me. He blocks me from totally viewing Rick Jackson. Now, as you can see, if you could see, there's someone up on the stage speaking. That's Ken Yasgur. I asked this guy, the bodyguard right here, I asked the guy, the bodyguard, I said, can you move? Can you move? I'm, trying to video the guy on the stage, Ken Yasgur. And he let me know, no, he wasn't moving. So, yes, I had a bodyguard all day long, two of them, keeping an eye on where I was at. Now, Rick Jackson did talk to people. He didn't go from table to table as much because of his entourage. Now, I've yet to see at any event, Chris Carr was with his wife, Joan, okay? Burt Jones was with his wife. I think maybe Burt Jones' dad was there. Maybe he was, but there were some other people there from his family. I do know at some time his wife. There's not an event one where I've seen a picture side by side with Rick Jackson and his children. I think he has 3 children, right? Grandchildren? Wife? No, nothing. Just an entourage. This campaign, I've told you over and over, I was there. This campaign is totally controlled. Everything's controlled. There's a circle around him at all times. All right? Now, they all went up on the same exact stage, and I'll tell you right now, this is Burt Jones and Rick Jackson were not side by side on this stage, but they're both standing on the exact stage. And what I did, I did not alter. I want to be very clear. I did not alter these photographs. But I asked AI to take the two photographs and put the two of them side by side. So this is an AI-generated photograph, to be honest with you, all right? And not altered, but I put them side by side. Because I'm going to tell you right now who can win in November. I'm going to show you some things of interest. Now, keep in mind these two candidates. Now, stay with me here. Stay with me. Keep in mind these two candidates here. Because the odds are, as the bookmakers are probably doing in Vegas, the odds are that one of these two guys, Burt Jones, endorsed by Donald J. Trump, Rick Jackson, one of these two candidates will be the nominee for the Republican Party for governor of Georgia. And both of them, there's something very interesting when they get to the general election, and I'll show you momentarily. Okay? Now, here is Rick Jackson. Right here. Now, this is Clark Dean. Clark Dean, I spoke to him. That's a really nice guy. Really nice guy. I talked to Clark Dean for Ken Yasgur. He's running for governor. Clark's a very nice guy. Now, I have all their videos. I'm only going to play some clips today. Some of them are longer than others. But what I want you to do is I want you to see every one of these candidates on the stage, how they come up, how they sound on the stage. All right? Then here's Chris Carr, right? Chris Carr was on the stage. This is Ken Yasgur, right? This is Ken Yasgur. Really nice guy. Ken Yasgur is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Nice guy. And here is Burt Jones up on the stage, right? Now, let me make sure that's everything I wanted. Now, I spoke to, hold on just a minute. I spoke to Chris Carr for quite some time. Now, what I'm about to do is I'm going to show you, so stay with me. I'm going to show you a couple minutes. This is going to take 8 or 9 minutes. But here's what I want to do. I'm going to show you 8 or 9 minutes. Sit back of every candidate except for, with the exception, Brad Raffensperger. He was not there. Okay. So I think let me make sure I'm correct here. I think that was Buddy Carter. I think we're going to start with Ken Yasgur. All right. So I think we're going to go with Ken Yasgur. These are all governor candidates. And the place is loud. Some of them, it's not so loud, but the place is loud. You can hear them for the most part. What I want you to do is pay attention. I'm asking you to their stage presence, how they interact with the crowd, how they project. Don't critique. Well, I don't want to do that. So here you go. We're going to start with Ken Yasgur. I'm going to give you a couple minutes with him.
Ken Yasgur.
Does this work? Yeah, there we go. How y'all doing today? Alright. My name's Ken Yasgur. I'm the longest shot bid for governor you'll ever see in your life. Alright? But I like to tell people, most of you haven't heard of me before. And that's because I'm not supposed to be up here. For the same reason you're not up here. Most of you don't have millions of dollars to donate to your campaigns. You don't have lobbyists or political action committees bankrolling you, telling you what to say.
Nope, just me.
I've been in the military 15 years. I'm a bartender on Tybee. I'm up here because you deserve that voice and deserve to be up here. So I'm putting myself out there to give you that voice. So like I said, I'm not born and raised in Georgia. My dad was in the Air Force for 24 years, so we moved all over the country. I don't come from a political family or Georgia business family. I come from 3 generations of military. So sorry I wasn't born and raised here, but by the grace of God, I enlisted in the Army. I got stationed at Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, Georgia with the 1st Ranger Battalion. In 2015, I transitioned to the Georgia Army National Guard. In 2013 and 14, I deployed to Afghanistan. In 2019, I deployed back to Afghanistan with the Guard. And then in 2024, I was back in the Middle East for a 4th time. So I may not have a helicopter, a bus, or millions of dollars, but I'm the only gubernatorial campaign that's been shot at by the Taliban. But when I talk about my military service, I don't talk about it like I'm some kind of hero. If anything, being in the military disqualifies me to run for office. But I like to talk about it because one thing the military doesn't always...
He got Stetson, and he said, "Don't be mean. Vote for Clark Dean." And isn't that what we want? Leadership that inspires this next generation. Leadership that's about hope and potential and capability to lead this state into the future. I promise you, I will serve you in that way. I ask for your prayers, I ask for your vote, and I ask for your support. And I promise no one will work harder, more authentically than I will for you. Business leader who got there in a different kind of path. I studied biomedical engineering at Harvard. And I took a class from Marty Feldstein, who was Ronald Reagan's economic policy advisor. And I realized in that class that all this mathematical modeling I was doing to study biological systems could be applied to business and economics. And I've spent my entire career since then in management consulting and corporate finance and real estate, doing some of the most complicated, complex transactions and business transformations around the country and across the world. I'm running for governor to deliver real results to Georgia families. Capable, real results. You see, I do believe we live in the greatest state in the greatest country in the world. We are #1 in business and have been for 12 years, and that's great. But let me tell you, I think we should be #1 in lots of things. And we shouldn't be second to dead last in maternal mortality. Families shouldn't be this squeezed, taxes shouldn't be this high, and healthcare and education shouldn't be this inaccessible. These are real problems, y'all. But you need a real problem solver to solve them. Competent executive leadership. This is a CEO job, and it is a service job. It is a service job. And service jobs start with listening. So I've listened all over the state, and I've created this plan, my ASAP plan for Georgia, which we need to do ASAP. It starts with affordability, strength, accessibility, and prosperity for all Georgians as soon as possible. We need to move at the speed of business, not the speed of government. And that's what I'm about. Now in 5 minutes, you guys really can't get to know me very well. And I know one thing's for sure, I can't get to know you. So guess what? A guy like me, you build something. And so I have built something, and I'm inviting you to try it out right now. It's called the Dean Machine, which happens to be my nickname in high school because I never
That is the thing we've got to do, and government is supposed to do. We have too many woke DAs still in cities and counties in Georgia that do not enforce the law. We're going to double down on gangs, double down on human trafficking and organized retail theft. But my friends, it doesn't matter if we don't win this race, and this has got to be about winning in November.
Thank you very much.
So let me just say this. There are 2 really rich guys that are trying to buy your vote, and there's one trying to earn it. And if you don't remember anything from tonight, remember this. I am the only candidate in this race and the only attorney general in the country to have sued Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Stacey Abrams in court and won. And so, I'll take that. Thank you very much. And if you want to make sure that Keisha Lance Bottoms is not your next governor, vote for Chris Carr for governor. Thank you all so much for having me. God bless and have a great night.
All right, how we doing? Thank you, Larry Walker. I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody here. I want to thank all of these guys who are up here running, because all of them are working hard. I know all of them very well, and they all working really hard and trying to earn your vote. And it's great to be at something like this where we can all share our message in different parts of the state. And I just greatly appreciate being here. Myron Mixon, let's give the Mixon family a big round of applause here. He and I did a video back there, and he said his tagline is "Keep Smoking." And I said, "How many followers you got?" He goes, "About 500,000. So that's pretty good right there. So hopefully, Myron, I know we live streaming this thing right now. But it's good to be here. The food is delicious. I appreciate it. I'm Burt Jones. I'm current lieutenant governor. I'm running for governor. And I plan on being your next governor, too, with your help, too. But I'm from a little town called Jackson, Georgia. Just is right up the road here, middle Georgia, born and raised. I see my Butts County folks back there now. How many Dooley County folks do we have here today? Dooley County, all right. Well, y'all, we got a new store opening up right down the street here, right off the interstate. And as expensive as this race has gotten, I'm going to need y'all to go fill up there when we get that thing open, all right? But I'm born and raised there. I went to a little school called the University of Georgia. Y'all know about it? Any Bulldog fans here? All right, that didn't sound good enough. Any Bulldog fans here? All right, sounds good. They named me team captain up there back in '02. It wasn't because I was a good athlete, though. It was because somebody asked me the other day, "You don't look like much of a football player." I said, "I didn't look like one 20 years ago either." But I will tell you this race is all about, this race is very important. The primary race is very important because I know Georgia had a spring day game today. Well, this is kind of like spring day practice right now. We're all fighting to see who's going to be your number one to lead us into November. And I tell people all the time, the best way to see what somebody's going to do in the future is just look to see what they did in the past.
That's right.
And I have consistently fought for Georgians as lieutenant governor. Starting in 2020 when the election scandal went down, guess who was out front leading that charge right there? It was me. In 2022, we were fighting to keep every constitutional officer red. And I was running for lieutenant governor, and guess what? We won that. But in 2024, when we were trying to get the president reelected, guess who was out front working for the president right there? It was me right here, and everybody here in this room as well. And I will tell you this. In the 4 years I've been lieutenant governor, we lowered the state income tax all 4 years. I want to see us get to 0. We cap property taxes, and I want to see us eventually eliminate property taxes for homeowners, right? We supported public safety, we fought for election integrity, and we also fought for improving our education system by giving more parents more opportunities for their children with passing school choice for the first time. We passed the Riley-Gaines Act under my leadership, as well as we passed religious liberty that's been tried for 10 years as the Republican Party. I keep telling people, you just want to see what somebody's going to do in the future. Look what they've done in the past. I got a lot of people who are running in this race right now. I don't know if y'all have seen us on TV or not. I mean, it's like a Morgan & Morgan commercial all over again. In fact, they probably getting jealous of us right now. I mean, how many of y'all have gotten stacks of flyers? Stacks of flyers, right? About like that. About that thick if you counted them all. And all coming from one person, and all bashing me, bashing my family and everything else. I can tell you right now, that's overcompensation for something right there. That's somebody trying to overcompensate for something right there. And I will tell you, you just don't parachute in and claim you're going to save the state of Georgia from ourselves and when we've been the best place to do business for the last 12 years. How does that work? Right? But all these guys I'm running against, they're milquetoast Republicans. I can tell you that right now. Yep. Like I said, I've been in the fight with the Republican Party and the MAGA movement since 2016. In 2020, when all that stuff was going down, I will tell you right now, I saw none of these guys that I'm running against. When 2022 happened, saw none of them. When 24 happened, we're trying to get the president reelected, didn't see any of them. None of them whatsoever. Nowhere to be found. And I tell you right now that if you want a consistent, common sense conservative, somebody who knows how to run a business, knows what it's like to employ people, knows what it's like to sign the front of the check, also has the legislative experience to get things done, then you're looking at them right here. I'm the only candidate that has that. I'm also the only candidate that's actually been battle tested too, because whether y'all know it or not, I'm the only one that's been attacked from the left and the right. After 2020, the Republican Party threw me out of my chairmanship in the Senate, and Fonnie Willis chased me for 2.5 years trying to get a mugshot on me, right? I was the first one to beat her in court, and then it all collapsed after that. That should be noted right there. On the Republican side, I've got all these guys. I got to get to the closer here. Hold on one second. I got all these guys. They all got something in common. They got a couple of things in common. One, they all trying to claim MAGA, right? But two, they've all sued me. They've sued me for raising money. They sued me for spending money. They'll probably sue me for eating barbecue with you here today, right? So don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by the false Hollywood-produced advertisement that's going on right now. Don't be fooled by all these mailers that you're getting in. Hopefully we can use them for some kindling here later on for the smoker. It's all right? Because at the end of the day, if you want a person in November that actually can win, because the Democrats are coming for the state of Georgia, they would like to flip the state of Georgia to look more like Virginia or Colorado. Right? So if you look at the states that are doing the best, it's Georgia, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, and the Carolinas. The ones who are losing population, losing economic opportunities are places like California, Illinois, and New York. Those are blue run states, we're red run states. If we want to stay red, rural Georgia has got to show up in a big way. Rural Georgia has to show up in a big way. And I am the only person who lives outside of Atlanta that's running for governor, by the way. And it lives in a small town. But rural Georgia has to show up in a big way, and because if we don't, we have an opportunity to lose in November. And if we don't pick the right candidate, if you pick a milquetoast Republican, or you pick somebody who's totally untested, then we will be in trouble in November. You can rest assured on that. Because I can tell you right now, everybody's talking about the same things about on the policy front, but at the end of the day, you've got to choose. The people here in this room and all across the state of Georgia have got to decide who it is that gives them the best opportunity in November. And I know I'm that candidate, but it's in little communities like this, all the money being spent on TV and all the mailers and everything, at the end of the day, the governor's race is a boots on the ground, word of mouth race. And it comes down to your friends, your family, and your church members, civic groups, whatever it is. It comes down to who it is the communities get together to put that they think will give them the best chance. And I've seen it happen way too many times. But at the end of the day, I'm the one who's the strongest on tax policy. I'm the one who's strongest on public safety, one of the strongest on educational opportunities, as well as election integrity. And if you want to get real election integrity, I'm the guy for that. And also, at the end of the day, the reason why the president's endorsed me, vice president's endorsed me, most of the sheriffs have endorsed me, and most of the business community around the state have endorsed me, because they've all worked with me. And they all know that I do what I say I'm going to do, and I usually deliver on what I say I'm going to do. And if I can't do it, I'll let you know that. I'm a straight shooter, about as straight as they get. And I can't do it without your help. I can't do it without your family's help. And I just appreciate Myron and David and his family for putting this thing on today, because I think it's very important that we get together in a setting like this. I appreciate y'all very much. God bless each and every one of y'all. And let's go eat some barbecue. See y'all.
Thank you very much. So let me tell you why I'm running. I'm running as an outsider, businessman, and I want to run to represent people that don't have representation. God has blessed me with many things, but the way I look at what He's given me is that it is not my money. And I'm a steward of His money, and since 2008, I've been giving away money and helping people and having impact on people all over Georgia and all over the world for nonprofits, especially with children and people that do not have representation like foster care and so forth. I was very inspired by the business acumen of the Trump administration. What they're doing is unbelievable. I have seen that and interacted it with myself. We bought an antibiotic plant in 2021, and we asked for FDA approval under Biden when we bought it, and it took us 7 months to change the name. Under President Trump, it took us 60 days to get an approval of a new drug that hasn't been made since 2008. Those are the kind of things and business decisions that I want to do in Georgia. I'm not running to be governor. I'm running to be a good governor. I could care less about the title. Nobody's going to owe me. I'm not going to owe anybody else. I'm not going to take money from special interest groups because I don't need their money. I will be able to afford to actually make decisions based on what's the right thing to do. And I plan on representing those people that don't have representation, especially with kids and so forth. I'm also, from a business standpoint, I'm nominating myself as the #1 business development person in the state of Georgia, just like Rick Scott did in Florida. And I plan on helping our rural communities and our agricultural industry. I have solutions for that. And so from that standpoint, I will be driving good deals, the art of the deal, in order to have more business in Georgia and drive the GDP, because we're going to need to do that in order to reduce our income taxes. I'm going to be working on property taxes. Guys, that's just unbelievable that we have widows that have to sell their property. But in any event, I would like to ask you for my vote and for your vote for me. And I will promise you, I will do whatever is necessary to represent the people of Georgia, because I want to have impact for the rest of my life. Thank you for your time.
Man, to the point. Didn't even take all his time. Y'all give Rick Jackson a hand.
Didn't even take all of his time. You all give Rick Jackson a hand. Didn't even take all of his time. Now, Ken Yasgur, yes, I did not play. He spent about, I think he was about 9 or 10 minutes. Chris Carr was 8 or 9 minutes. I did not play all of it. Dean Clark was about 8 or 9 minutes. I did not play all of it. But I wanted to play the entire. I didn't want anybody to say, well, I edit Burt Jones, but I didn't, or I edit Rick Jackson. Start to finish. I wanted you to hear the entire, both sides. And I put them together for a reason. I wanted you to hear both sides. And because, again, this will probably be one of these two guys will probably be the nominee. See if I have that there. There you go. One of the two guys are probably going to be your Republican nominee for governor. To me, what do they call it? Milk toast. I mean, Rick Jackson, Chris Carr. Start throwing things at me now. Throw whatever you want. But if you're sitting there out there, Chris Carr roamed around the stage, went off script, had a little more energy than Rick Jackson did. Off Ken Yasgur, across the stage, went off script, didn't have a script, put it out there. He has a great message. Clark Dean, energy level through the roof. Great message, off script. Bert, off script. Great message, energy level, very high. Rick Jackson didn't even use his time because the campaign is so controlled. It is a organized, controlled environment for him, 100%. And he can't get out of it. And what you witnessed there and what I witnessed at this event is, unless he controls the questions, yes, I'm hearing more and more people talk about not being able to get the questions publicly. Now, if you get done and you go answer, but if they don't have you picked out before it starts, I mean, Banks County, that caused them problems that night. They learned, well, I don't want to say they learned a lesson, but they shut things down after Banks County. They're not just letting any question come to Rick Jackson be asked or be to where it can be videoed and put out. You don't see that. Go find those out there. They're hard to come by. And once he is not where he can have his note cards and he has the audience focusing on him, because when you go to these events, a lot of times people don't listen. They talk, they're mingling at a table, they're having adult beverages, as Rush would say, and sometimes they don't listen attentively to the candidates on the stage. Milquetoast, boring, no energy, low energy, just saying, right? Out of his controlled environment. Now, you heard Bert, you heard Rick Jackson. Now I'm getting ready to show you something. You keep hearing about Keisha Lance Bottoms, okay? Odds are she will be the nominee. That's the odds. And they're going after Keisha Lance Bottoms as though she's already the nominee. But I have a video here I want to play for you. I hope you're ready.
I'm a man of faith and a proud Democrat because I listened to Georgians and found my heart. As governor, I'll tackle the affordability crisis, the healthcare crisis, and the Donald Trump crisis. I'm the only Democrat who can do it. I'm a man of faith and a proud Democrat because I listened to Georgians and found my heart. As governor, I'll tackle the affordability crisis, the healthcare crisis, and the Donald Trump crisis. I'm the only Democrat who can do it.
Do you know who that is? That's Jeff Duncan. That's Jeff Duncan. So, find this interesting. What if Jeff Duncan becomes the nominee. Now, he's saying he's the only one who can win in November, right? Because on the Democrat side, Keisha Lance Bottoms is probably Republicans, they're pulling for her. I mean, Keisha Lance Bottoms, Republicans are hopeful that Keisha Lance Bottoms will be the Democrats' nominee. The Republicans want to run against Keisha. Now, Jason Estevez, in a recent debate last week, he was not invited because he did not meet their polling threshold. So keep in mind, the other night when you were watching, or if you noticed, that Thurman, is that his name? Thurman? What's the one guy's name? I'm sorry, I forget the one guy's name. All right. But he was on the stage, Jeff Duncan's on the stage, Keisha Lance Bottoms on the stage. Jeff Duncan made the polling. Over and above Jason Estevez, according to them, that kept him out. Now, Jeff Duncan wants you to believe that he is the guy that can win in November. And remember, that's what we're talking about. Chris Carr wants you to believe he can win in November. Clark Dean would like for you to believe he can win in November. We're not leaving out Brad Raffensperger. Brad Raffensperger is running a different kind of campaign. He is, for the most part, totally and completely avoiding any Republican Party events, Republican Party forums, whatever they may be. He is running what I call the Lions Club, Rotary Club, Chamber of Commerce, business community, the Jewish Republican Coalition, whatever it may be out there. He's running that kind of campaign. So we're not counting Brad Raffensperger out here because I've asked, are these two right here, or is Rick Jackson splitting the water? Is Rick Jackson putting Brad Raffensperger in play? So just before we go there, I want to talk about, I think I'll talk about it in the next segment. I want to stay focused on this because this segment is more about you getting to see the candidates themselves. So here's the interesting thing. If Jeff Duncan is the nominee and Burt Jones is the nominee, do you realize Jeff Duncan will be running against Burt Jones, who is serving what Jeff Duncan feels should be? This is a big question. Now get ready for this. So I've always told you, keep in mind, Burt Jones is serving what Rick Jackson and Jeff Duncan feel should be his second term, Jeff Duncan's second term as lieutenant governor. He chose not to seek a second term. And don't forget, Rick Jackson, the guy you just seen on the screen, Jeff Duncan, he supported him. Yes, he did. He really supported Jeff to become lieutenant governor, the guy that was on the screen that says he can win as a Democrat. So if Burt Jones is the nominee, Burt Jones will be running against the guy that A, stripped him of all of his committee assignments, basically put Burt Jones in a broom closet for an office, right? And Burt Jones went on to run with Donald Trump's endorsement, who Jeff Duncan hates, and won lieutenant governor's office, and Jeff Duncan did not serve a second term. But Jeff Duncan is running for governor as always planned. You got to keep in mind, when you say, well, I'm shocked Jeff Duncan would run for governor. The deal, when I say the deal, what it was Jeff Duncan was always going to have a first term as lieutenant governor, second term as lieutenant governor, and then after Brian Kemp, he was never going to push on Brian Kemp. After Brian Kemp, he would then run for governor. Well, the timing is right here. He just didn't get his second term as lieutenant governor. But the timing for him to run for governor, as planned, is here. It's just on the Democrat side. So just think, if Burt Jones is the guy, who he's going up against. Now, what if Rick Jackson's the guy? Now, I think if you look at them side by side, if you listen to him on the microphone, Rick Jackson will not be able to. We will see Sunday. We'll see what happens Sunday. But Rick Jackson will not be able to run side by side with a candidate. It's going to be a struggle. I mean, he has to be 100% Joe Biden controlled. Now, I didn't call him Joe Biden, so quit freaking out there, okay? He is lucid. Rick Jackson is lucid, and he can put a thought together, and he's a very smart man, okay? Very smart man. He's lucid. But as far as the political machine that he's working with, they are running a Joe Biden campaign. Keep him in a controlled environment. That's what we're going to keep the word hide out, because he is going out everywhere and campaigning. And he's not doing it in crop circles, that being said, as Biden did. But Rick Jackson is doing everything in a controlled environment. If he becomes the nominee, they will have to tighten down that controlled environment, actually, because that's when the media is going to really start scrutinizing him. Oh, yes. They're really going to come after him if he becomes the nominee. And are you ready for him to run? Wouldn't you like to know what his campaign would be about if he ran against Jeff Duncan? Keep that in mind. If he runs against Jeff Duncan, I mean, just saying, right? What I would like to know is his plan to run against Jeff Duncan, because him, along with everyone else, wants Keisha Lance Bottoms. So, folks, today what I wanted to do is give you an opportunity. Again, I wanted to say, hey, we went down to Unadilla. We were down at Unadilla. And thank you, Myron Mixum, and everyone in the 2nd District. We had a really great time Saturday night. Listen to these candidates that came up on the stage. The energy level. No script. Engaging with the people. Ken Yasgur went to every table. I mean, every single one, worked the entire place. Now, Burt Jones, someone's going to, I know I got that one person that's going to say, well, Burt Jones has a bodyguard. Yes, the lieutenant governor and the governor. Yes, they do. Absolutely, you are correct. Comes with the job. Security detail comes with the job. Absolutely. So, and I don't know if they have any private to go with it, but security detail is part of the position as lieutenant governor. But Clark Dean went to every table, said hello to everybody. I stood in the back, talked to him for a long time. Just really enjoyed. He's a nice guy. Ken Yasgur went to every table. I mean, he felt comfortable. He mingled everywhere. Burt went to all over the place and mingled with everybody and said hello. Chris Carr from the stage, energy. Rick Jackson did a very little with his entourage, circling him, his bodyguard and his entourage. And obviously, he did take questions. They took Rick Jackson off in a field, kindly to the side. They let the local TV channel come and interview him. All right. Local TV channel came and interviewed him. And and some people lined up outside in an area, controlled area, and they let them come up and say hello to Rick. But very little working the area, very little. And again, his bodyguards making sure I got nowhere close. Really? So, all right. So I told you I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, and we're back, and what was, how do I close again? We're going to take a brief break. Is that what I said? So I am your host, BKP. Don't forget, you can, let's see what I got here. Take this down, put this up. You could scan that QR code. Yes. You can scan that QR code and go to our Substack. Let me tell you what you think. Oh, I always have to say goodbye to the uglies, right? Yes, the uglies out there. The people just write ugly, nasty comments. All right, we're going to come back. We got another segment. We are working on a lieutenant governor segment. We have a Secretary of State segment up. Please go through these, analyze them, and tell me what you think of each segment, okay? Please. Like I said, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back.
With my 35 years of experience, our team at U.S. Asset Management can deliver professional investment management, financial planning to help you target your goals, and even specialized divorce financial analysis if you need it. We are here to help you make better decisions with your money. Call U.S. Asset Management today, and let's get to work in your financial future.
The left is siding with illegals, attacking ICE, and fighting to let non-citizens vote. Republican Kelvin King is a graduate of the Air Force Academy, Air Force veteran, and conservative businessman. As Georgia's Secretary of State, Kelvin will put Americans first, root out corruption, clean up voter rolls, and restore confidence in our elections. The other candidates had their chance and failed. Republican Kelvin King for Secretary of State, leadership Georgia voters can trust.
Pro-Trump warrior Steve Gooch won't just cut property taxes in Georgia. He'll throw them straight in the wood chipper.
Senior citizens on fixed income shouldn't be forced from their homes. Neither should veterans who have served our country and fought for our freedoms. And neither should anyone else for that matter. Frankly, these crazy property taxes are un-American. I'll tear them to shreds. We'll make home ownership great again.
Steve Gooch for Lieutenant Governor. Toughest tax cutter Georgia's ever seen.
Do you already have your investments with Fidelity? I'm David Cross with U.S. Asset Management. Did you know that you can assign your investment management to my team and put my 35 years of experience to work for you? You simply assign us as your investment manager and you keep the same username and password. Professional management, and you get to work with someone who shares your values. Call U.S. Asset Management today and put us to work for you.